What's up guys, and welcome to another video. This is a video response to Pete on a retro tip and Liverpool Retro Gamer, who both put out videos recently, and I'm not sure if their videos in response to other people that I don't necessarily follow or caught the video, but it's 5 irreplaceable items I would save from my collection if there was a fire. And it's one of them things where with some of the videos it was about their value, as in how much they'd be able to sell for, but also what they meant to that person. So I think it's kind of cool that there's the videos I've watched so far from the guys were partly ones that are valuable items that would be almost impossible to replace that financially, or they had an item with a bit of meaning, whereas mine are, none are particularly expensive. I could rebuy all of these things, but yeah, it's the sentimental value and stuff, as you'd see. So let's start with this, which you can't really tell by the case, but this is my Game Boy Micro, and there's a couple of reasons for this. Is because one, the Game Boy Micro is awesome. The backlight, I don't know what I've got in there at the moment. Let's fire it up and see. Yeah, beautiful little console. What have we got in here? Whatever it is, and it's not booting, so there's probably some Duff unofficial cart in there or something. Let's take it out and see. But yeah, the Game Boy Micro, beautiful console. People said about the screen, it's a copy of Lilo and Stitch. This is actually my wife's game. Beautiful console. My wife actually bought me that one, so that's why it's also part of my collection, because it's sentimental. My wife bought me that, so it's the first console she's ever bought me. She knew I really wanted one in my collection. I own the SP anyway, but something about the Micro, it's been out for 15 years, didn't sell well because it came out after the DS and no one was interested in buying Game Boy Advances then. DS was backwards compatible, so it was almost pointless. But it's so easy to carry around, and the GBA has such a wicked library of games. So it's a great portable system. It's so small still very cool to look at. And as you can see, I've got the green model, but you can get interchangeable face plates. And I got a multi-pack of several face plates, quite cheap, but they tend to go for quite a lot. Even the face plates go a lot. I got this a few years ago as a present, but the value of these goes up very quickly on eBay. So if you do want one, it's only going to keep rising. So yeah, get one soon. So that's one item I'd definitely save. I'm cheating a little bit with my second choice, because it's actually 2 games, but with the same story behind them, and that's True Pinball and Oddworld Apes Exodus for the PS1. And this is the reason I'm picking 2, and I hope you let me slide on this, is because they were both bought to me, for me as presents by my gran, who's no longer with us, because it was a good 20 years ago that these were bought for me easily. So the sentimental value of games that my gran went and bought for me, I think it might have been a case of my mum picked them up, or even I picked them up and my gran gave me the money. But it was she asked me what I wanted, and technically they're from her, so I'll there's a lot of PS1 games I got rid in my collection. In fact, nearly all my PS1 games that I've purchased in recent years are to replace ones I've got rid of in the past, because we always used to sell games. There's not many of us growing up who actually kept entire collections, apart from my mate Tugboat. He's always been good for that, to keep hold of his games, and it's paying off for him now, obviously, with his massive collection. So yeah, these are 2 that I always did keep. There's a handful more, but these 2 were ones I always did and always will, because they were bought to me by my gran. So love you, gran. Cheers for that. So technically that's 2 things we spoke about. The next one is this cart here, which is an NES multi-cart, official multi-cart. I think it originates from an NES superset, and I picked this up recently, and it's cheap. I think I only got it 2 or 3 years back, and it was about £6 loose, because it's only ever loose. Came as a console bundle. But this cart is the first ever time I played a Nintendo. Back in '91. It was at my friend Tim's house. I've told this story many times, and it introduced me to Super Mario, and eventually it took me a while to realise that there's actually 2 other games on there, because we'd always just play Mario all the time. So this was added to my collection because it's my first introduction to video games, I played NES at my mates tons. We were around this house all the time. I ended up with an Atari 2600 soon after because I just wanted to get something and I didn't really care, and they were dirt cheap at the time. But yeah, this particular multi-cart is the thing that got me into gaming. I had to work it out in my head. It was 1991. So yeah, the love of Super Mario flew from there and Nintendo. Speaking of Mario, I've also picked my boxed copy of Super Mario Bros. 2, which I picked up at Revival last year. It would have been mainly because of what beautiful condition it's in. The actual plastic case around it isn't in such great condition, but I'm keeping it in it anyway until I get a replacement out. But the actual box, the manual, the cart, everything in this is such great condition. I paid £40 for it. I wasn't going to barter, I was just happy to see it in such good condition. This really set me off on my journey of starting to buy all the mainline Super Mario games in boxed complete condition, which I'm working my way through now. I've got the free NES trilogy now. So yeah, this would be hard to find in the wild in such good condition, especially at a somewhat reasonable price. So I will definitely grab that one. And finally is my Super Nintendo, which is the original one that I got bought for me for Christmas 1995. So again, I was always, up until the PS1, which I got as a birthday present in May of '97, so relatively early in its life cycle, less than a couple of years in. I was always quite late getting the consoles, because by Christmas '95 the PlayStation was out, so the Super Nintendo was kind of on its way. But I'd played a lot of SNES in the years prior, and this is my original 1995 Super Nintendo. No yellow in, and obviously, as you can see, I did a bit of a paint job on this. I did this a good 10-15 years ago. I put this paint job on here. I'd say 15 years ago, and yeah, I've not done the whole thing, but so I was modding console things years before it was cool. Yeah, basically I just covered up obviously sections of the Super Nintendo, and I've just spray painted it and got this interesting sort of purple, sort of speckly colour going on. So bit of an odd looking Super Nintendo, but it's mine, and it's the one I grew up with and loved to bits, and it still works perfectly fine, and I would never get rid of that. So that is my 5 items that are irreplaceable to me, that I would rescue in a fire. Obviously, another shout out to Pete and Liverpool Retro Gamer for giving me a bit of inspiration for this and making me actually jot down in my phone and the notes in my phone about items that I would want to keep from my collection. So if you guys want to do a response video to this as well, that'd be awesome. I'm sure it's kind of cool to go through these sort of things in your collection rather than just talking about everything in your games room or whatever. So appreciate you watching. Go check out the other guys' channels if you don't already. I'll put those details in the description, and we will catch you again soon. Thank you.